But I think it's worth pointing out before we get to questions that Juliana's presentation is about a country that supposedly the United States liberated from oppression. I assume that's not lost on a lot of you that are not Assyrian as well.
My name is Richard Reynolds, and it's a privilege to be here. I would think that those that have spoken this morning are here at great risk to yourselves. I have, my understanding of this situation is growing, but not fast enough, I admit. Are you provided security? What do you have for protection that you might continue your work? I worry for your safety.
I think that all of us, protected by God, we don't have any security, and the best security is our Lord, and He will keep us safe. Thank you.
You know, the way I look at it is, and that's the first thing my mother said to me as soon as I said I'm starting this organization. She said, "Oh my God, they're going to kill you." And the way I look at it is, I do what I think I'm called to do. I do what the Holy Spirit moves me to do. And God willing, He will protect. And if I am sacrificed to in this way, then so be it. But this is a message that needs to be spread.
As for me, I basically escaped Egypt to stay alive. My options were over there to get killed or go to military prison. So almost 4 months ago, I decided to come to America. And we'll start applying for political asylum because going back means military prison or death. So I think I'm safe now since I'm in a free country. But that's about it. And it's a matter of priority, really, because not doing anything about it is suicide. Right now, it's a fight for survival. So it might look like we are risking our lives, but we are actually fighting for our own survival because the other option is silence and suicide.
By the way, that's when she says she's in a free country, that's not supposed to be a laugh line. You know that, don't you? Let me just read another line from Congressman Wolf's letter. He says, "I believe this country has a moral obligation to be the voice for the voiceless around the world." These are three voices. If we're not going to protect them, what are we doing here? So let me also point out that Congressman Wolf is assisting Cynthia in her asylum.
What can we do to make this a very active issue in our current presidential campaign so that these things, politicians and presidential candidates have to sit and watch this and say, what should we do about it?
We have reached out to the Romney campaign at this time, and we're waiting to hear back. And whoever is going to be the nominee, we will work tirelessly to reach them and talk to them. It has been a tough battle working with the government. It has been tough working with the State Department, but members of the House, Congress are listening to us now. Above that, more importantly, is having you Americans involved. Being in constant communication with us when there is a petition that needs to be signed, when there's a rally, when there are letters, and we will cover that more in depth in the second or third panel that we'll have. It is you guys that have to help us. We cannot do it alone.
My name is Art Ellingson.
Okay, sure.
And I'm the Tea Party organizer in Arlington Heights. And I have a suggestion for everybody. The next time you have an event like this, get Congressman Walsh and Roscom and whoever else is coming, all the other congressmen here, then show these videos and make them watch. Because in my opinion, any politician who says Islam is a religion of peace is either woefully ignorant, totally out of it, or they're just lying through their teeth. And you've mentioned Congressman Walsh. We get to vote for a new congressman named Tim Wolf from this area. So if you're a registered voter in the 9th District, vote for Tim Walsh. Tim Wolf, not Walsh. Tim Wolf.
Everybody got that straight? Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Tony Raymond. I'm the director of the Northern Illinois Patriots, another Tea Party group. We meet up in Libertyville. I too echo the sentiments, and Joe Walsh is a great supporter of religious freedom. Let me say that Romney is not the only candidate you should be looking at to get support. I'm a delegate in the 10th Congressional District for Santorum. And as many of you know, Santorum is really gung-ho. Thank you.
We're not only focused on Romney. We will, but
good.
he's the first one we reached out to.
Thank you.
We will reach out to, especially Santorum with his stance. Absolutely, it's
I
right
got
aligned with what we believe in.
I got word last night that Santorum is coming into town on the 16th. And if you'd like more information, please come to me. I'll get your email addresses and keep you up to date.
I want to pick up on something that Juliana said. As somebody who served in Congress for 8 years, we are only as good, whether we're running for president or running for a congressional district or a state legislative district in Illinois, as good as your ability to influence us. If you do not take the time to make sure that they hear the stories that were told this morning and understand the consequences of doing nothing, nothing is what you will get. And so whether it's Newt Gingrich or Rick Santorum or Mitt Romney or President Obama, if it is not going to be your burden to make sure they get this message and insist that this country owes these individuals an obligation and need to speak up, nothing will happen. Sir, right there.
Yes, I'm Father Stephen Muth from the Byzantine Catholic Church in Whiting, Indiana. I have two very quick questions. One is to Cynthia. Cynthia, on CNN and other news agencies during the Arab Springtime in Cairo specifically, they reported a story of Coptic Christians surrounding a group of Muslims who were at prayer to protect them. Was that true? Did that happen?
It was absolutely true, and not only that, the churches in my neighborhood, I found a group of young men standing in front of it with baseball bats and tennis rackets because we're not allowed to bear arms, and these kids were Muslims, and when I asked them, what are you doing here, they said, we're protecting the church in our neighborhood from Mubarak's militias, because the truth is, Mubarak was causing 90% of the attack. His regime was causing 90% of the attacks on Christians. So this is the absolute truth.
Thank you. And then this last question is very brief, but it's to all three of you. Father Tom and I, like the three of you, belong to Catholic churches of the East. And I want to know if collectively you're aware of any kind of movement or activity in Rome, in the Holy See, in the Roman See, in the Vatican, to use their influence to change what's happening over there, like vis-a-vis other governments or directly? Or
I'm only aware of statements that the Pope puts out. I'm not aware of any activities that are from a diplomat, and that's what we want. We want diplomacy from the Vatican. We haven't seen that yet.
You haven't seen that yet? Okay, thank you.
I belong to Roman Catholic Church because I grew up in Rome, and I believe that Pope Benedict started very well, and for some reason he's backing up right now. I don't know for what's the reason. This is always politically correctness, I think. One thing important happened to me here in the United States, that when I start to approach Catholic Church, I don't hear any support from them. They completely ignoring our voices, and they completely not willing to engage anything with us. Thank you.
I echo what he's saying. Unfortunately, the Catholic churches have not opened their doors to us, and I have to give credit to Father Tom of the Byzantine Catholic Church. If it weren't for Father Tom of the Annunciation of Mother of God, I would not be here today. He is probably one of the very, very few Catholics that have opened up their doors to us. So if we have Catholics or other evangelicals, Protestants, please, if you want us to come and talk and raise awareness to at your parishes, please let us know. We will come.
First of all, I'd like to thank you all for coming and speaking to us. Thank you very much for giving us your time. I'm a recent college graduate, and disclaimer, I'm a conservative, just to get that out. On campus, there's a lot of talk about diversity, and they're all about diversity until it comes to ideas. I think the diversity of ideas is shrinking in this country. I think that's a very sad thing. One of the things I did notice, though, whenever I participated in debates and political clubs, whenever issues of what you three were talking about religious persecution in the Middle East, about the rise of a certain very radical brand of Islam, you couldn't speak about it without, again, as you three were saying, without being called a racist, a bigot, Islamophobic, ignorant. I guess my question is, have you ever been giving speeches or been talking on a panel when you've been approached with people who, having not walked one day in your shoes, stand up and look at you in the face and call you a bigot or Islamophobic, and what would your response to that be?
Actually, I have had this problem repetitively online with American leftists, not all of them, but many of them. And I would tell them that if they were born in Egypt and if they were in my place, they would probably be working as spies for state security on people like me. They've not been tested, so they cannot claim they know where we're coming from. But I also wanted to address a question about what Americans can do to help us. While President Obama is apologizing for a woman that Rush Limbaugh obviously called a naughty name, and while he is apologizing for books being burned, he did not apologize that the Islamist Pakistani style Egyptian military that killed Christians with U.S. arms or screaming Allahu Akbar. He did not apologize for that, and his response was ask for the dead Christians, my dead friends, to restrain themselves. So vote, okay? You want to help us? Vote him out. Vote President Obama out.
I'll just say one thing. Having been on a number of panels with Cynthia, anybody who purports to be an Islamist or an Islamist sympathizer puts himself at great risk trying to debate this woman, particularly cab drivers in Washington, D.C. The problem riding in a cab with Cynthia is you have a great debate, but you never get where you want to go. But this is an important point. Almost invariably, I bet you I'll let the other panelists weigh in on this, but we have found that normally when these kinds of folks are attacked, they're attacked personally. Their arguments are irrefutable, but they always go after the messenger and very rarely the message. Did you have something you wanted to add, Dr. Ramelah?
The problem that, I have a lot of sympathy with these people that they call us whatever they would like to call us, because in the end, they don't understand Arabic. So the problem with Islam, if you don't understand the language, it is very hard to understand the core of it, So, it is normal that I come to speak to you about something else that was prospected to you in different way, and I'm coming to tell you the truth. You will never understand it from me because it is easy to understand the easy thing, not the difficult thing. This is my point of view.
I have spoken at universities and colleges, and what I find that we have to alter our presentations to come in from a human rights angle to students. Otherwise, we lose them. It's the nature of the beast. So in order for us not to lose them, we have to come in from the humanity aspect of it, not so much Christian aspect of it.
My name is William Solomon. Hello, Henry. I am an Assyrian, and I've known, like most of us here, that the Christians have been slaughtered and massacred for the last 1,400 years. And I don't think that's going to change in the near future. Does anybody on the panel or in the people who are here believe that Christians should be left to die in the Middle East, or do they believe, like I do, a government-sponsored mass migration away from hell?
Yeah, well, in Middle East, they cannot defend themselves. The big problem, for my point of view as voice of the Copts, to increase awareness in the Western country, because, I mean, if you have 80% of Muslim in Muslim countries, majority there, I mean, the only thing that you could say is that you go there to bomb them, and as a Christian, we are against that. But at least creating more awareness for people that they don't understand the Arabic language and they don't understand the reality of Islam, I think this is the goal that we need to do it right now, because otherwise these people also will be in the same situation of the Egyptian or the Syrian or anybody else.
What is your personal opinion on a mass migration possibility, government-sponsored mass migration? Take them out of hell. Don't leave them in the hell. They'll die sooner or later.
Listen, they are not going. I have my father, 88 years old. I have 4 sisters there. They don't want to leave Egypt. They say they're going to kill us. We stay here, they kill us.
Thank you.
In terms of, for Assyrians, for example, there are 2 schools of thoughts. One, that there are people that want to leave Iraq and those that do not. We as Assyrians have a very, very difficult situation in the West. We are only about 4 million left, and we're assimilating very fast. We're not speaking our language anymore. We're losing our traditions, as you know. So for me, there's that inner struggle. If we're in our ancestral homeland, if we can have a safe zone called Nineveh Plain, that is protected by the Indigenous People Police Force and under federal government of Iraq, that is I don't want to say utopia, but that is what we want. Otherwise, in the West, if there is mass migration to the West, we as a community need to be prepared. We need to have schools, because last thing I want is to see our language, our sacred language, and our traditions be extinct.